Hello, everyone. Welcome to this edition of Oxford News This Week. In this edition, families want school officials to be removed in sports. A former Tiger plays in Oxford. In our last story, Saturday is Market Day. Sit back, stay tuned. You're watching Oxford News This Week. Welcome back to Oxford News This Week. Parents of the 4 teens killed in the 2021 Oxford High School shooting are actually asking Governor Gretchen Whitmer to remove 2 Oxford Board of Education members who remain on board well after 3 years of alleging they failed to put proper threat assessment procedures in place. In a formal complaint filed with the governor's office, the parents allege board members Heather Schaefer and Mary Hanser have failed to implement any recommendations that were made in a third-party investigative report that was released 2 years after the initial shooting. The parents invoked a Michigan law that actually gives the governor authority to remove school board members guilty of gross neglect of duty or corrupt conduct in office. The complaint, which was served to Schaefer and Hanser on Tuesday's Oxford Community School Board of Education meeting, was signed by the concerned parents and the mother of 17-year-old Madison Baldwin, Buck Meir, father of 16-year-old Tate Meir, Jill Suave and Craig Schilling, parents of the 17-year-old Justin Schilling, and Steve St. Juliana, father of the 14-year-old Hannah St. Juliana. St. Juliana served Hanser and Schaefer with the charge for removal of Tuesday's board meeting and also submitted it to the governor's deputy legal counsel. Oakland County Sheriff Michael Burchard recognized outstanding service of 9 deputies with the Oxford Township substation and the Oxford residents who is a deputy in Forensic Science Laboratory. The awards were actually presented during the National Peace Officers Memorial Annual Awards ceremony that took place on the 15th of May. The honors included citations for life-saving valor as well as citizen and community service awards. Oxford Township Supervisor Jack Curtis said the Oxford Township deputies are professional people who give their all to our community. Honorees that night: Sergeant Deputy Scott Rafalski, Deputy Jalen Charles, Sergeant Eric Daughtery, Aaron Janes, Deputies Ashley Jovel Lagos, and Aaron Allen, Deputy Patrick Jens, Deputy Edward Everhard, and Deputy Robert Charlton. All were given honor on that evening. Earlier this year, Genesis Credit Union and the Oxford Chamber of Commerce offered the high school Community Pride Scholarship to the Oxford High School class of 2024. On May 13th, the OHS Senior Awards Ceremony, 4 graduates were benefactors of a $1,000 scholarship. Heidi Allen, L'Oreal Spurgeon, Ellie Geiselman, and Sean Wilson. All part of the scholarship applicants they needed to reflect an answer to a question: what does Oxford community mean to you? The selected recipients displayed a great level of dedication to the project and their community, personal passions, and academics. Congratulations on their scholarships. If you're downtown Oxford, you're going to want to be aware of this. The Park Street Water Main construction project expected to begin immediately after the 4th of July holiday weekend. According to the contract for the engineering service sent to manager Joe Medor by Rowe Professional Services Company, the Oxford Village Council approved an agreement that will allow Rowe Engineering to oversee a project during the meeting that took place on May 14th. The project will span 2 blocks of Park Street from Pontiac Street to Mechanic Street. According to Rowe, improvements include abandoning the existing water main, installing a new 8-inch water main, installing new services on 25 homes, replacing the lead service to the meter for around 10 homes, and installing new filtration storm sewer systems at 4 locations. Hutch Paving Incorporated will be the asphalt work, which includes pulverizing the existing asphalt surface before a new hot mix of asphalt will be installed. Bostwick Excavating will work with Hutch Paving to complete the underground and grading work. According to the letter Rowe sent Medor, Hutch Paving was awarded the project contract on April 9th after they were one of the companies that had the lowest bid of 4 other companies. Another area on the freeway or roadway that you're going to want to be aware of, this gets underway real soon. A new roundabout is slated for Baldwin and Clarkston roads. The intersection is scheduled to close to traffic beginning on June 10th. That'll be completely shut down. If you do use Clarkston or even Baldwin, it will be closed. The Orion Township Board of Trustees voted 6-0 in March to approve a $50,000 to expedite the timeline for completing a brand new roundabout this summer. A move that the township officials say is necessary to support residents, businesses, and kids getting to and from the school. Construction would actually be completed by August 16th, according to the timeline from the Road Commission. While the Road Commission is paying for the construction cost, providing an incentive for the contractor to finish that project earlier, $150,000 additional to the price tag if they get done early, which the township was asked to contribute $50,000. The remaining $100,000 will be paid by the Road Commission and the Oakland County government under the tri-party program to pay its share of the construction incentive. The township plans to use the taxes from the marijuana dispensary as part of the plan at improving Baldwin and Clarkston intersection. The Road Commission has chosen to temporarily reestablish the Baldwin Court connection between Clarkston Road and Baldwin Road throughout the project, and the duration Baldwin Court will be reopened to through traffic so cars can get through Baldwin Road to Clarkston Road via I-75 in Sashabaw. Again, you're going to want to be aware of this. It gets underway on the 10th. And the 4 victims of the Oxford school shooting will soon have a beautiful place, a memorial sanctuary, to gather crowdfunding campaign. Thanks to a crowdfunding campaign, the dedication of the local father and a greater community, the Michigan Economic Development Corporation, MEDEC for short, the Hannah St. Juliana Memorial Fund, and the 4-County Community Foundation announced a campaign that is being offered through Michigan based on crowdfunding platforms per city. If the campaign reaches its crowdfunding goal of $50,000 by June 21st, the project will win a matching grant of funds made possible by the MEDC Public Spaces Community Places program. For the project details and how you can donate and get them to their goal, please visit the patroncity.com/Hannah. The public gardens will center around the design concept of the 4 representing the 4 lives that were lost. The vibrant space will highlight perennials, native flowers, bushes, trees, and water features. The funding from this campaign will contribute towards the garden development and completion, with the sculptural tree covered in the wisteria. Hardscape and softscape materials will cover maintenance and upkeep costs as well. The visual mix of stunning plants and flowing water will combine to provide a small oasis of healing and remembrance to the community. Again, the Michigan Economic Development Corporation is the state marketing arm that led to advocate this program and job awareness and community development for the facts on growing Michigan's economy. For the information on how you can make a donation, MEDEC, and the initiatives that they represent, go to www.michiganbusiness.org. Again, we hope you can help out and make a donation to get them to their goal. We also want to thank the 4-County Community Foundation for everything that they do. In our separate segment, and one we've come to enjoy, and now it's called Behind the Lens. A last-minute bike ride by C.J. Carnacchio led to a beautiful picture. This was the very view standing on the shore of Long Lake. Again, he calls it a slice of heaven, pure Oxford. Once again, borrowing from C.J. Carnacchio's lens to your home. Coming up in sports, a former Tiger played in Oxford, and in our last story today, Saturday is Market Day. Dave Kenny's up next. You're watching Oxford News This Week, right here on Oxford Community Television.
When a crisis hits, close to home and across the globe, nonprofits are on the front lines, ready to serve.
Keep coming.
The demand for charitable services has skyrocketed, and nonprofits are rising to meet the needs. Healing, nurturing, rescuing, honoring, protecting, caring, inspiring. The work of philanthropic organizations of all sizes, across all missions, has never been more important. And it's donors and volunteers like you who make all this possible. Thank you. Together, we change the world. The Nonprofit Alliance.
Welcome to this edition of Auto Talk. I'm Dave Kenny, and this story is taken from Automotive News. Jeep's first electric vehicle for North America, the Wagoneer S, is bringing a dose of speed to the off-road brand's lineup this fall. The Wagoneer S has an estimated range of more than 300 miles with a 0 to 60 mile per hour time of 3.4 seconds. The feature-filled launch edition will be available first with a starting price of only $71,995, including shipping, and qualifies for retail and lease EV credits under the Inflation Reduction Act. It's being produced at Stellantis' Toluca assembly plant in Mexico. Jeep said the midsize Wagoneer S is the most aerodynamic vehicle ever. It's built on the versatile STLA large platform that also will underpin a varied slate of vehicles from Alfa Romeo, Chrysler, Dodge, and Maserati. Sales will begin in the US and Canada before spreading to markets around the world. The launch of the electric Jeep Wagoneer marks a new chapter in the storied history of the Jeep brand, Antonio Pelosa, Jeep brand CEO, said in a statement. Building upon nearly a century of innovation and design, this first global EV will introduce a whole new generation of owners to experience what is distinctly Jeep and 100% electric in every way. The launch edition has 20-inch gloss black wheels with a dual-pane panoramic sunroof. Jeep avoided using any chrome to incorporate more environmentally friendly processes and materials. Pelosa last month said he wants the Wagoneer S to take share from the Tesla Model Y, which dominates the midsize electric utility segment in the US, China, and Europe, and from newer Cadillac and Genesis competitors. Pelosa said Jeep can conquest Tesla customers who want something more sophisticated. He's expecting the Wagoneer S to attract young, high-income buyers on the West Coast, in the Northeast, and in Florida. Jeep recently released a teaser video showing the Wagoneer S racing the Tesla Model Y performance trim. The 5-seat Wagoneer S is smaller than the gasoline-powered 3-row Wagoneer SUVs that Jeep sells today, but it continues the legacy of well-appointed, luxurious interiors. EV has a 12.3-inch center display touchscreen and a 10.25-inch front passenger screen. The front passenger can use the screen for entertainment and send driving instructions or directions to the center screen. The launch edition comes standard with customizable LED lighting and active direct ambient lighting with up to 64 selectable colors. The brand said the Wagoneer S is the only SUV in its segment to have standard heated and ventilated rear seats. Owners can use the Jeep smartphone app to access information such as the remaining battery charge. When a destination is entered into the navigation, Jeep said a dynamic range mapping feature calculates and displays the distance that can be traveled based on the charge level. The 400-volt, 100-kilowatt-hour battery can recharge from 20 to 80% in 23 minutes with a DC fast charger. Launch edition models include a 48-amp Level 2 home charger or public charging credits through Freeze to Move Charge, Stellantis' charging ecosystem. Owners can use the Free to Move Charge app to search for charging stations, activate charging sessions, and charge or track charging history. Jeep said the EV's 3-in-1 electric drive modules combine the electric motor, gearing, and power electronics into a single compact unit that is both powerful and efficient. The front electric drive module, Jeep said, is equipped with wheel disconnects to reduce energy draw when cruising and help optimize range. The Select Terrain Traction Management System has 5 drive modules or modes for various weather and road conditions: auto, sport, eco, snow, and sand. Driver assist and safety features include adaptive cruise control and drowsy driver detection, so watch out. Well, that's all for this edition of Auto Talk. I'm Dave Kenny. Stay tuned to Oxford Community Television.
When I was in foster care, I never knew when I would have to move, so I always had my suitcase ready to go. Then one day, I was adopted. My new parents opened their hearts and home to me. My parents cook my favorite breakfast for me every morning. My parents take me on trips I never thought I would go on. They gave me a home and an even better reason to use that suitcase. My parents aren't perfect, but they're perfect for me.
Hi, I'm Peyton Manning, and I'm partnering with the American Red Cross this year to tackle blood shortages. Giving blood's important because every 2 seconds, someone actually needs blood, and unfortunately, only like 3% of the U.S. population donates. So we have to step up to give and to make sure there's plenty of blood available for those in need. Visit redcrossblood.org to get in the game and make an appointment to give.
Welcome back to Oxford News This Week, and yes, the school sports are in their completion phase. We will be covering some Little League, U14, U10 softball, along with also senior ball, which I get that opportunity to call. But by the turn of the century, baseball had become America's new favorite pastime. Oxford, by 1906, baseball fever had hit most local communities. Teams sprang up all over, but these were no Little League squads playing there. These teams were stocked with local businessmen, and the competition was actually fierce. Back in July of 1906, the Detroit Tigers' very own Tyrus Raymond Cobb was spotted walking around the downtown Oxford area. He was recognized by Gent Kessel, an avid baseball promoter and actually the owner of the Oxford Opera House. Apparently, the Ty Cobb had faked illness in order to avoid a long trip out east with the Tigers. He loved to fish and somehow became acquainted with Oxford's fish-filled Stony Lake. On August 17th of that year, Kessel talked the Tigers outfielder into playing third base for the Oxford team. They played against Bay City. They lost that game, hard to believe, with Ty Cobb at the helm. Cobb didn't have a standout performance. However, he would go on to play several more games, leading Oxford to a victory. The Oxford Leader reported that he playing in an Oxford uniform against Imlay City. Cobb drilled a late-inning double to bring in the winning 4-3. Cobb played again with Oxford when the local team beat Cadillac 10-9. He beat out with a bunt, scored on a hit. Ty Cobb could return to Oxford again in 1907, luring other professional ball players out to the area not to play ball, but actually to do what he enjoyed doing, to do fish. Cobb went on to play 22 seasons for the Tigers, showcasing an impressive .366 batting average. He served as a team player manager in his last 6 years. Ty Cobb playing baseball in Oxford. Watch the summer baseball, softball here on OCTV, and also again senior ball. I will be covering that. You'll see that on OCTV all the way up until fall sports and football. In our last story, we call it Saturday. It must be market day. Dave Kenny's got one more segment. We'll close it all out after that on Oxford News This Week.
When a crisis hits, close to home and across the globe, nonprofits are on the front lines, ready to serve.
Keep coming.
The demand for charitable services has skyrocketed, and nonprofits are rising to meet the needs. Healing, nurturing, rescuing, honoring, protecting, caring, inspiring. The work of philanthropic organizations of all sizes, across all missions, has never been more important. And it's donors and volunteers like you who make all this possible. Thank you. Together, we change the world. The Nonprofit Alliance.
Welcome to Science in the News. I'm Dave Kenny, and this story is taken from New Scientist. This year's Atlantic hurricane season will bring between 17 and 25 named tropical storms, including as many as 7 major hurricanes, according to the U.S. National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, also known as NOAA. That is the highest number of storms the agency has ever produced in its seasonal forecast. The stage is set for an extraordinary season, Rick Spinrad, the head of NOAA, said at a press event. The annual forecast considers tropical storms that reach sustained wind speeds above 39 miles per hour. This year, of the named storms, NOAA predicts that 8 to 13 will be hurricanes with wind speeds of at least 74 miles per hour, and 4 to 7 will be major hurricanes with wind speeds of at least 111 miles per hour. The combined strength of these storms across the entire season, known as the accumulated cyclone energy, ranks the second highest ever forecast by the agency. The high number of predicted storms is due to high surface temperatures in the tropical Atlantic Ocean and a shift to the cooler La Nina climate pattern in the Pacific Ocean. The above average temperatures in the Atlantic can strengthen storms and cause them to intensify more rapidly, and La Nina reduces patterns of wind shear that typically weaken hurricanes. An above normal African monsoon season that can seed storms also contributes to the high projection. Everything has come together to get a forecast like this, says Ken Graham, director of the U.S. National Weather Service. The agency's forecasts broadly align with earlier projections from other groups, including the UK Met Office, which projected as many as 28 named storms and far above the 14 or so seen average above the last 3 decades. Another forecast comes from Michael Mann and his colleagues at the University of Pennsylvania, and they projected an even more extreme 27 to 39 named storms. The 2020 hurricane season, which was the most active on record, has 30 named storms. It's a double whammy of factors that are responsible for our prediction of a record active season, and both factors are favored by human-caused climate change, says Mann. Warming driven by greenhouse gas emissions has played a substantial role in the warm Atlantic waters, and climate models suggest human-caused warming could lead to a greater tendency for La Nina conditions, he says. The forecast contrasts with the 2023 season, which saw a more moderate 20 named storms. Atlantic Ocean temperatures were also high last year, but this was moderated by wind shear driven by the El Nino pattern in the Pacific Ocean. And most of those hurricanes blew out over the ocean rather than making landfall on the coast. Still, last year's storms caused about $4 billion in damage to the U.S., says Spinrad. The direction in which winds will steer 2024 storms is now the million-dollar question, says Phil Klotzbach at Colorado State University. Steering patterns are difficult to forecast far ahead of time because they depend on shorter-term weather. But conditions favorable for storms to form in the Caribbean, where they can impact islands and quickly hit the U.S., he says, they're getting better. While the forecast is alarming, officials say people can take steps to minimize danger and damages from the expected storms. It's the highest number, but it's about being ready, he says. Well, batten down the hatches, and that's it for this edition of Science in the News. I'm Dave Kenny.
With the doctor, or is this with the nurse practitioner? Fantastic. Dad, lunch. Got some soup for you.
You are loved.
Oh, you. Look at those freckles.
This was very much.
You are valued. You are strong. You are resilient. You got this.
You're there for them. We're here for you. Find free care guides to support you and your loved one at aarp.org/caregiving.
And welcome back to Oxford News This Week. And yes, quite simple, it's our last story. Saturday is Market Day. Don't miss it. Kick off your fun every fabulous weekend with a visit to the Davis Family Farmers Market, sponsored by Genesis Credit Union at the Seymour Lake Park, 2795 Seymour Lake Road. It's housed in a 4,000 square foot pavilion. The market is open every Saturday. Some people are even asking, can we possibly get this thing on Sunday? But right now it's open Saturdays from 9 a.m. to 2. Just some of the excitement and maybe some good food you can pick up down at the market on Saturday mornings. Well, that's going to wrap it up. Do we know what Terry's listening to? I'm going to have to ask her when we pass in the halls here at OCTV, but she is out for a few weeks. We'll have her back on, and then we'll find out what she listened to in the vehicle. Other than that, I'd like to say thank you for watching. OCTV can be viewed on Spectrum Charter Channel 191. Channel 99 on the AT&T Uverse system. Check us out here on YouTube, Facebook, Rumble, Roku app, as well as you can see our shows. If you have a show idea and you'd like to be a volunteer, contact OCTV. Given our office number at 248-628-9658. Ask for Terry or Dave. A very special thank you to producer and director Kyle Snage, news writer Allison Miller, editor Kyle Snage, programmer Connie Miller, station manager Terry Stiles, all for everyone right here at OCTV. I'm Jim Hughes, hoping you have a safe week. I invite you back next time. And again, as we always do, we will take a look at Oxford News This Week. Have a good week, everyone.